the best video games of 2024, a Time magazine. No. That's long. Helldivers. Definitely. Nope. Nope. Not Lego. Nope. Oh, fuck. Yep. 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 Alright. Nope. That don't belong nowhere on the list. Yep. Yep, but higher up on the list, if not number one. Yep, definitely. What, the DLC? The DLC? No, no, that's not in there. No, 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 that's not in there. Definitely not. Hold on, let me just, you know what we should do? We should have this up here. We should have this up here, and then we should just be doing stuff like this. Never. It's not even on there. What is this game? It's not even on there. It's not even on there. Never. It's called Never, yeah? Well, it's not even on there. It was never on there. Ah, I've spelled it wrong. That's probably why. Oh. Oh, this. This is number 5 in the top 10 games of the year according to Time. The game that didn't even have 1,300 players. With 196 playing right now. No, that's what we call fucking failure. Shit game. That one. Shit. Silent Hill 2. Yeah, I'll put it there. It's a classic. Not Rebirth. Remake. I think remake. Astrobot. Yeah. But we shouldn't have won Game of the Year. Let's see number 1. You can't make this shit up, bro. You can't make this shit up. Ah, oh, man. I swear you can't make this shit up. Nah, bro. Nah. Nah, this can't be real. Bullshit. Fuck Time magazine, bro. Time magazine can do one. Do one. I haven't seen this one yet. I see it pop up, but I've been wanting to watch it on stream. So let's see what the homie's saying.
Hi guys, it's me again, and today we're going to talk about everybody.
Oh my god, it's almost like every video he releases like this is gradually getting worse in quality, like visual and audio quality, but the content quality is getting higher. So he's onto something. I tell you that, he's definitely onto something with this. But every time I see these videos, I know, oh no, mirror image, bad quality audio.
His favorite AAA gaming. We're going to look at where it's been, why it exists right now, and where I think it's going, which is going to be the majority of them into the garbage.
Yes, into the shit, definitely.
Before that, if you build 100 bridges and you suck one dick, you're not a bridge builder, you're a dick sucker.
Yep.
But if you suck 100 dicks and you only build one bridge, you're Ubisoft.
Stop it.
And the problem now is that we've got a lot of companies like that because they focus so much on trying to make these games and focusing on making them the most broad audience possible, making them have every...
But the saddest thing, I think the saddest thing with this broad audience bullshit, which every company wants to do, they want as much eyes to see it as possible because they could potentially be customers. It's understandable, it's a business practice. But they're marketing the product to people that do not actually exist. Who is the modern audience? They don't exist. They don't exist. They're not out there. We saw with the numbers of the games. They don't play. They don't play games.
Everything.
They're on Parliament Square, protesting, telling you what a woman is. And they don't even know what a woman is, actually.
for everyone, that we get to a situation where one size fits none. And I think this has been an ongoing issue. It's been going on, I think, especially in the last like 10 years. I think
Yeah.
COVID accelerated the goal with this because of how much more money gaming is making now. COVID was kind of like a multiplier effect on that. But it's been going on for a while, and I want to explain kind of like where AAA gaming came from, because back in the day, we're talking about the 90s, even the 80s, right, with arcades and the original consoles. But the 90s and the 2000s and a little bit into the 2010s, right, and not all the way, as we all know, is that AAA gaming was a stamp of approval, a seal of quality, and it's funny now because it's almost the opposite. It's like, well, this is a AAA game. It's coming from this big studio, so we know that it's going to have a number of annoying features. There's probably going to be, you buy the game on Steam, and then you have to log on to their additional launcher in order to actually play it.
Yeah, they
all
gotta
of
stop
these
doing
very,
that
very
shit.
annoying things.
That Ubisoft bullshit needs to stop, and that EA Play, whatever the fuck it is that they do when you gotta log into another account to get their launcher. Nah, I'm not interested. Instantly puts me off. I'm not gonna buy it.
Things. And at the end of the day, I think a lot of people
I think
don't
everyone's
enjoy
like that.
And
Yeah.
the other big issue that AAA gaming has is that basically a lot of studios, and I think companies are doing this in general, this is something I think that we're also seeing in movies as well, where you're
Everywhere.
seeing these
It's everywhere.
movies that are being made with these gigantic budgets, like everything is
Yeah, and they're not even recouping a percentage. They're taking L's. They're taking L's with these, atrocious movies. Millions of dollars just down the drain.
CGI. There's
Shit
like all these
movies.
A-list actors in it, and
Yeah.
like, the movie has a budget of like over $100 million, maybe, or something like that. I don't know really what average movie budgets are, but it's probably even
Yeah.
more than that in some cases. And then it makes back like a fraction of that money. And the reason what that does is it makes it to where every single movie has to be Spider-Man. Every single movie has to be attached to an IP that can be attached to a line of toys that can be
Yeah.
sold to kids. And so now you don't get as many movies that take
100%.
risks as
100%.
much because those risks cost more money and it's harder to
Talking about risks and that, watch a film called... It's not even risks. There's no dialogue in the film. Watch Flow. Independent film. Took a risk, no dialogue. Totally new kind of like animation style. It's great. See, they take the risk and then you achieve something that's extraordinary. Or you're just going to keep doing this ordinary shit. Spider-Man 7, Marvel fucking 50 with their dead humor. Nah. They're all going to be shit and fail and just take massive L's.
recoup the money
That's
back
just what's
from the
gonna
risks
happen.
because you've lost the market of DVDs. And so this has been going on now for quite a while with movies, and I think video games now are starting to copy the trend.
Yeah.
And what you're seeing
the
now
bubble
is
has
that
burst.
everything is two. Everything is the next one of something that already
Half of Exile
previously
t-shirt,
existed.
though.
And of course, I mean, I say this, and if you guys can see what I'm playing playing Path of Exile 2. Okay, so I'm not going to talk too much about that, but that is kind of what my point is that I think that studios like Grinding Gear Games, studios like Warhorse that are making Kingdom Come Deliverance, and
Yeah.
other studios that are the more AA
Larian.
quality studios. I think
Larian,
that the
AAA.
real future is going to be those studios
100%.
making the AAA games. It's like it's
Making AAA games or making what we perceive to be AAA games. Swear to God, it's the studios that are AA, the A studios that are making games like Kingdom Come. They're going to be the ones that are going to be the fucking forefront.
instead of a
True,
AAA
true.
publisher or AAA developer making multiple AAA games, it's going to be one AA publisher, one AA studio
Yeah.
making one AAA game. And
Yeah.
I think that's what we're seeing a lot more. And I think that
Yeah.
whenever you really look at, because like especially live service games, you have to have such a finger on the
I think Fortnite and PUBG proper, stimulated the gaming industry in a wrong way to all of them, to make them all pursue live action because they saw the cash cow that Fortnite is. They all want to imitate that, and I think that's kind of sad. I get it. This is the market. This is how it is. When the traders and the merchants see what's selling, they want to sell it as well. It's understandable. And then you have the market with everything the same. And then you go, that section, they've all got jeans. Or that section, they've only got T-shirts. And they're all selling the same thing. That's what ends up happening. But then you got that one exclusive guy who's got them exclusive hats. Or them shoes that only them shoes that he makes. you know, and there's that particular store, and that one's exclusive, and it's good because it's special, it's extraordinary. That's what we want. We want the extraordinary. That's what this pursuit is about.
A pulse of
It's
the
to
actual
find the
community of the
extraordinary,
game.
right?
You have to
Enjoy
have
the
everybody
extraordinary.
that's working there really understand it. I think that's what Blizzard had back in the 2000s with Warcraft.
Yeah.
And if you look at any of the most popular video game franchises, and you look at the people that make the games,
Who made
the people that make
StarCraft
the
as
games
well?
are usually very
Is it
good at those
StarCraft?
games. For example, like the Final Fantasy 16 guy that went and one-shot the boss in front of a big audience before the game
Yeah.
came out. That was
1 minute. Is it StarCraft? Yeah, this was fucking quality. Blizzard. I loved StarCraft 2 as well. Fucking hell. Wicked game.
really cool, and it showed that, hey, this guy knows what he's doing. He actually knows how to
Yeah.
play his own game, which in some cases, like
A good thing.
Diablo 4, turned out to not necessarily be the case. And so anyway, what I think has happened
They didn't have to play their own game. No.
is that you've seen these studios like Ubisoft. I think Ubisoft is it's the worst offender, where they're spending $100 million on a game and they're expecting a 20% return. Because would you rather have 20% on $10 million or 20% on $100 million, right?
Yeah. It's true though. It's true. They will collapse with this sort of plan. They will collapse. They have to change it. They won't even recuperate.
And so that's the logic that they use, that they're going to just spend more money so they can multiply the largest amount of money possible. And
Yeah.
I think that what's happening now is that is true, but it's also that you double down on a loss when it's not. And I think
Yeah.
that's really the situation that we're seeing a lot of these studios run into when they release a game that's effectively a dud. And
Yeah.
I think the reason why these games are getting released and they're trash is because consumer interests are changing so much faster than they used to.
100%.
So think
100%.
about it like this. There are a lot of games that are in development for, I don't know, like 6 years, for example. 6 years or 4 years in development is very, very common. Think about how much different things were 4 years ago. Well, 4 years
Yeah.
ago, we had COVID. Everything was totally different. People were addicted to Genshin Impact, and everybody was spending all day on the internet. Well, you can't necessarily develop a game around that, that context. And 6
Yeah.
years ago, if you started making a game, well, if you just got inspired by Fortnite, man, you're a
Yeah.
little bit late now, aren't you? And so
Yep.
what we're seeing now is that we're seeing smaller studios, these AA studios. I think the best example of this, too, that you can use besides Grinding Gear Games is Larian, who made Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
Is that Baldur's Gate 3 took an incredibly long
And now it will put the perception to the public that they're AAA because of the success of Baldur's Gate. When really, yeah, AA. Divinity Original Sin. What a game.
time to make.
I might play
but
that
it
next.
didn't follow any trends because it didn't need to. There were no outside pressures, outside investors. Being a publicly traded company was not
Yeah.
causing them to have to, monetize the game in a way that
It's what he said on the exception on the speech of the game of the year when he was going to give the award out. What he said there is the truth. He's making a game that they would enjoy to play. No pressure, making sure the team is looked after, so then the game comes out good, and then the fans are looked after. That's the best.
it was annoying. It was just them making a good game and then
Yeah.
delivering it to players. And I think AAA game studios have, instead of becoming, too big to fail, they've become too big to succeed. And I've
Yeah.
said this before, and I think that it becomes increasingly more true every year. And you're seeing these massive studios laying off. Like, I didn't even know this. Ubisoft has 20,000 employees. How do you do that?
What? 20.
There are so many people that work probably at these studios that have jobs that are, not
Meaningless.
particularly,
Meaningless. Honestly, it must be meaningless and not even contributing to the actual product. I don't know, man. 20,000 people. They are big. Bloody hell.
super involved with the actual
Yeah,
creation of the
that's
product.
a lot.
And I think that's very obvious considering that they fire bunches of people and the products keep being made. So
Yeah.
the issue is that you have a massive overstaffing, and then you have massive budgets, and then you have massive expectations and a
Yeah.
priority system that's created by people who don't actually have the players' interests in mind. And what
See,
I'm
no,
saying
no,
by that is
That leads to a disaster. that leads to no one playing a game. I was about to open that Never game. It leads to no one, or Dustborn. It leads to a Dustborn, like 6 people playing it right now or something ridiculous. That's lame. That's not a success.
I think a good
Do you know
example
what I mean?
of this is if you look at a lot of the like video games that have
I don't get
actors
it.
in them. Like I think Senua's Saga 2 is a really great example of a game that is made for an audience of gamers that doesn't really exist.
It doesn't. Yeah,
So
I
obviously,
think it's like movies. Very strange.
the game was popular
It's
for some
strange.
people, and there were a good number of people that bought and played the game. But the
Yeah.
reality is that it really wasn't that big, and they probably didn't recoup their costs.
100%, and it wouldn't be sustainable going forward if you're going to continue making this game for this tiny little percentage of the audience. Then you're not gonna succeed as a company, right? That's it.
And what happens is that games
And they're not even
journalists
good.
and games
That's the
media,
thing, they're not
and
good.
I think just the games
They're not
industry
being bad.
itself likes to gas itself up about these types of games, but I
Yeah.
don't actually think that these are the types of things that players are actually looking for. And I think that's reflected in the sales, and this happens over and over and over. People
Mm-hmm.
play video games because they like playing video games. While there are
Yeah.
exceptions, they are very few and far between. And so what's happened is that these studios have convinced themselves they need to do all these things that players don't really care about.
Yeah.
And they do them at the expense of the things that players do really care about, which is replayability, actual play, like playing like the experience you have playing the game in the minute-to-minute basis. And
Yes.
I think that really another great example of this, I've been playing like on top of like Path of Exile 2, I've also been playing off-stream Stalker 2. And holy
Okay.
shit, that game is great. And it's made by, again, a AA, a smaller studio, but they've come together to really make an incredible game. And I think having
That's the number one thing. What the Larian Studio guy said, that's it. That should be law. What that Oracle told him. Make a game that you would enjoy.
like a focus. I remember, there was like a really good metaphor that like in Game of Thrones, King Robert was like, what's stronger, 5 armies or 1 army? And like really it's the 1 army that's a lot stronger. And
Yeah.
I think that's what we're starting to see a lot more with these games, is you're seeing these studios that are focusing entirely on making one defined product for a defined
Yeah.
audience that they have a finger on the pulse of, and they're able to deliver a product to them that meets their needs and exceeds them in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
That is the future for games. And I think
Yeah.
also what's going to make this even
The
more
ones that
the
will succeed.
future is the fact that you're going to see a lot of these studios, like the layoffs are going to keep happening.
Crazy
and the reason
layoffs.
why is because of different types of ways that you can effectively, like, it's not really all AI, but in some cases it is. If you can
Mm-hmm.
have one person do the job of 3 people through some sort of procedural generation or some form of technology, well then
Yeah.
you're going to have that happen. And as that happens, it becomes easier and it lowers that bar to entry for the quality that people expect whenever they're paying $70 or
Yeah.
$60 for a video game.
Yeah.
And so that's where I think AAA gaming is going to go. I think AAA gaming is going to have to become like, I don't know, they're going to have to scale down. And I feel like there are a few exceptions, right? We're always going to have Rockstar, From Software, Capcom, stuff like that. Yeah, for sure.
Giants.
But I think that many of these other studios are probably going to have to narrow down on one or maybe just a couple of IPs and then
Yeah.
develop products for just those IPs rather than
Yeah.
trying to.
It's like with CD Projekt Red, what they said is just Witcher and Cyberpunk, and I think they've got a spin-off, like another Cyberpunk spin-off or an ARPG, something like that they mentioned. I remember them mentioning something like that. Not ARPG, but a 2D sort of style game. Did you ever play Ascent? Like Ascent, something like, I heard, this is what I heard anyway. But that's what it is, it's because then you can laser focus on them. You know they're successful, you know there's a market for them, there's people that are yearning for more. So if you've laser focus and then develop that product to be fantastic, then success is what's going to come, right? You're known for that, so, focus on that. Don't be doing live action and, live service games. No, we don't need that. We don't need it. We've got other places for that. They do it much better. Sit.
To release a bunch of different products and just like, well, if we sell 1 million of them for $10, we're going to make $10 million. Well,
Yeah.
wow, why don't we sell 1 million of them at $1 million or something like that, right?
yeah,
Some
it's
variation of this. And it's just like the
massive,
idea that, well,
yeah.
we can just keep making more money because there's no sense of market saturation. Well, I think that there's very clearly been a market saturation, hasn't there?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
we're seeing that
Very clearly.
express itself right now. As you know, you see a lot of games that just don't have the marketing. There's just so much of an economy of attention. There's
Yeah.
only so many people that can pay attention to so many games. And I think, again, when you have like your story game or whatever that is focused on, motion capturing facial movements, that just doesn't fucking matter to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like, I don't give a shit about that. I don't think a lot of people do. It's nice when the games have it, but I'm certainly not going to play a game because of it. But if a game
Because
has
of
good
it,
gameplay,
yeah.
I will play a game.
That's the
because of
number
it,
one
even
thing.
if the face models go like this. I don't give a shit.
Literally,
And I
yeah.
don't think most other
He's right.
people
It's 100% true.
do either, except for other journalists
the
and people
gameplay?
in the industry. So what
Yeah,
we're
unless
going
you're
to
an
see
activist,
more
I guess.
of is we're going to see these AA studios
For the activists.
that, and I think that another reason why this is happening too is
Yeah.
like distribution and publishing.
Hmm.
Being able to publish a game, think about how many hoops you had to jump through in order to get your game on Nintendo 64, or in order to get your game on Super Nintendo, or even something like the GameCube. It was much harder to do than now, where all you have to do is, put your game out on Steam and then, post it on Baldi's subreddit. And if the people like it, maybe they'll watch it. And then it'll be in a YouTube clip, it'll get 100,000 views or more. And so that's
Crazy.
pretty easy to do,
Yeah.
right? Especially compared to, trying to work around, a Japanese company's expectations.
Yeah,
in
and all these
the year
loopholes and all
2003.
these, yeah.
Much, much harder to do. And
Yeah.
so nowadays, I think you're seeing much more people able to get into that space and grow in that space much more quickly. And that's why you're going to see those AA studios that focus and narrow in on just like that one solid, really good product. That is where I think the future is going to be for AAA games. And I think that also AAA studios, this is another big problem, is that, what I was saying before with Ubisoft, they've sucked a lot of dicks. And the problem now
yeah.
is that residual taste in people's all right, let's go ahead and just stop it
Come on, bro. Yeah, come on, man. You know what you're doing.
right there. People think that their next games are going to be bad because their previous games have been bad. And
Yeah.
so there is a reputational damage that happens
Yeah.
that exists
This is
beyond
the
the
marketplace.
lifespan of the game
Yeah.
that has problems.
Yeah.
And that's effectively
It's because it affects you. You become infected. You are poisoned. You got a debuff on you right now because you are known for shit. You've made shit before in the past. You're going to be known as the stinker. It's as simple as that. It's the marketplace.
what I'm trying to say.
It's what
And
happens.
so what I think that we're seeing with Ubisoft and other studios is that they have this reputational damage, this generational reputational damage. Blizzard's another great example of this. And it makes it to where every game that they release is
Yeah.
taken with such a massive grain of salt that a lot of people write it off before it even releases.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even know what it is. Oh, it's a Blizzard game. It's a Ubisoft game.
And they go, them shitters. I'll watch from afar.
It's EA.
That's
Of
what
course it's
happened.
going to be garbage.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
newer studios that focus on one product don't necessarily have that reputation, or at least in a lot of cases they don't. And
Yeah,
if they do,
and especially if they come out with bangers for their first game, they're going to be known for that. People are going to be keeping their eyes peeled and their ears ready and their fingers ready to play when they announce a new game. They're going to be intrigued because their last one was a banger. That's it. It's like,
that go out of
that's all
business,
it
right?
is.
And I think
Fucking
that's
hell.
what happens in some cases. But that's where I think the future is of AAA gaming. I think that they have to narrow down and focus more on a number of
Yeah, get that
individual
focus in.
IPs rather
Yeah.
than trying to just get
and
20%.
and also, when we're saying this, be innovative, be new, bring something new, not another Fortnite, not another this or that. We've got that, and they've done it better. Something new. Take the risk. Do it. Come on. Them ideas that you had, go for it. Don't make Spider-Man 7.
Return on as many things as possible. I think that there is very clearly a market saturation. There's very clearly a market cap, and I think
Yeah.
that we're beginning to explore that reality now.
100%.
I think that's become evident after about I'd
A lot
say
of people were saying,
2022, after
yeah.
like the COVID level of like internet usage and video
Yeah.
game usage kind of
The
went
spike.
back down, and then also it wasn't recovering at the 20% or 10% year-over-year expectations that a lot of tech
Yeah.
companies were, getting investments under the expectation of. And so what I think is going to happen is, you're going to have a lot of these AAA studios that just simply can't meet the
it's cold.
expectations of such a massive ship. It's like, how easy is it to turn a Titanic versus a Viking longboat, right? And that's why you see small games like Valheim doing a whole lot better than big games like Skull and Bones. And
Yeah.
there it is, a
Yeah.
quadruple A game. 1A for
Quadruple.
each player.
Yeah, that's what they said.
And so that's what
100%.
happens. That's where
yeah.
I think things are going to go. And I think the future that we're really going to see is going to be in the indie studios and the
Yeah.
AA studios that focus in and
agree.
fixate on creating one.
And even right now, I'd even say right now, the ones that are holding the fort are indie or AA games. They're making the bangers.
One AAA high
That's what's
quality
going on.
experience game like Path of Exile
Yeah.
2, Stalker 2,
Baldur's Gate,
Baldur's
Kingdom
Gate
Come,
3, stuff
fucking-
like that.
yeah.
And I think that's going to be the future of games.
Many
And
games.
You know what I think? I think that is such a good thing. That is
It
an
is.
amazing, great thing.
It is. That's the great thing with the shit games. They can make their shit games still. It's the marketplace. You will be judged. The moment it's released, you will be judged. It's a shit game. That's what the people will say. Unlucky. Back to the lab.
Because those studios have a much better understanding of what the players want.
Yeah.
I'm a player, and that's what I
Yeah.
want. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's about it, guys. I thought I'd make this
Yeah.
video and talk about this topic because I see a
Spectacular.
lot of people bringing it
It's
up very
interesting.
regularly, and I wanted
Yeah.
to give my 2 cents. So
Well, we
let
need
me
to
know what
know.
you guys think in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.
Absolute legend. Bear with me 1 second. I just got to go toilet.